I have a confession to make. There are people that I legitimately hate on TikTok. Okay, maybe hate is a strong word, but severely dislike. And it is the Kettlebell warriors. All it is just a guy who's somewhat lean with a little bit of muscle. He's using a kettlebell, he's sweaty, doing the most pointless of cardio-ish exercises with a kettlebell, and his comment section is just full of people like, I want this physique. Oh, this is what I need to do. I'm just like, guys, if you want to build muscle and be lean, which is what you are going for, the guy in the video, what he's doing, that's not the best way to get there. Not even close. You want to have muscle? Train for muscle. You want to be lean? Don't eat as much. What that guy is doing with the kettlebell in that video, you know, that little like lunge, switch over to the other hand, lunge with the kettlebell. No, I'm sorry, that's not what's going to get you there. So please just think a little bit more. If you're interested in having that type of physique, hypertrophy plus nutrition. It's that simple.
Here's the major difference, son. Bodybuilding makes your body ready to show off. Kettlebell training makes your body ready for anything. Before we jump into my reaction, I want to invite everybody to my Kettlebell Plus 3.0 webinar. I'm currently working hard to revamping our Kettlebell Plus membership, which some of you are already members of, and give you that improved next level kettlebell experience that you have been looking for. And I want to explain it to you in detail and then give you a powerful offer at the end. So if you're interested, you can find it in the first link in the description. If you're a Kettlebell Plus member, I invite you to, because this is going to change your paradigm. And if you're new to kettlebells, I believe this is going to be the perfect kettlebell membership that you have been looking for. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. This bodybuilder, this TikTok influencer is losing it over the kettlebell. And one thing that I think is so awesome is every time somebody is trying to pick at kettlebell training, you have lost your mind, because what you are calling for is the kettlebell wolves from all over social media gathering to feast on your corpse in your comment section because you decided to go against kettlebells. This happens every time. Somebody calls out kettlebells, they're like, ooh, that's the wrong community to pick with. But here's the key. I don't want to battle the person. I want to battle the argument. So let's look at what this dude is saying. Number one, he talks about building muscle. There's a couple of things that I want to say, but something right out the gate is the kettlebell is a weight. And if you progressively use it and load it, you're going to build muscle. Here's the reason why. There's two major qualities or reasons why you are able to build muscle, or why your body adapts to this kind of motor ability. And that is, number one, protein degradation, and number two, time under tension. And I would add a third layer that I call quality time under tension, which I want to touch on a little bit. So number one is protein degradation. The heavier the weight is that you use, the more protein breakdown, which is what protein degradation essentially means, is happening. So pick up heavy weight and you get a lot of protein breakdown. The second factor, time under tension. Now, even if you move that heavy weight only for 1 or 2 reps, there's not a lot of time under tension that's happening. So our main goal is to marry the two, which in an ideal world would mean that you will always move the heaviest weight possible for the longest amount of time for a lot of reps. Now, in the real world, this is not possible. You have to adjust one or the two. I'm either using a heavier bell or heavier weight, and I can't move it for many reps, or I'm using a lighter weight and I move it for more reps. So that's the combination between protein breakdown or protein degradation and time under tension. Now, one thing that I want to add is quality time under tension. Here's the key. If you move a very heavy weight, let's say double 32s, that's 64 kilogram kettlebell, that's over 120 pounds for my American friends, and then you do 10 jerk. you drop the bells down, your heart rate jumps to 180 in my case. What then happens is your central nervous system is fried. So I have to rest enough. That's why I'm a big fan of heart rate training now, especially when I use heavy weights. I have to rest enough until my heart rate goes back down, in my case, maybe to 140 or 150, so that my CNS is rested and recuperated, and I can go back at it, getting more quality time under tension. Because letting my CNS rest means my prime movers can now add to the work. And this has to do with the size principle of the muscle. Now, if you don't rest enough and you go back at it, yes, you still have time under tension, but your prime movers fatigue very early, and now you start moving the bells with other muscles, or the form breaks down, or you have gotten to a point where you can efficiently move it to an extent where you can do very many reps with heavy weights. Look at the kettlebell sport guys. But the reality is, in most cases, in our case, we who are not super crazy elite athletes, the key is now our prime movers don't put in a lot of work. So yes, we have time under tension, but it's not that good of a quality. Adding these three factors together means it doesn't matter what weight you're using, what implement, what tool. If you abide by these rules, you are going to build muscle. The second thing that he talks about is the worst cardio-ish exercises with kettlebells. Now, this is always a typical statement of somebody who has never lifted with kettlebells, who has no clue about them, who doesn't know the intricacies, the details, and the rabbit hole that kettlebells actually are. One of the best strength endurance and endurance exercises that you can do with a weight is not the swing, it's the snatch. The snatch is the perfect cardiovascular exercise. It's going to explode your cardio to a level you have never seen before. And what type of snatch am I talking about? I'm talking about that type of snatch that allows you to do 200 reps in 10 minutes and then switching hands only once. And our friend in the video, if you're watching this, I would like to invite you and show you how to do this. Maybe you're a big, strong guy, so maybe a 16 or 20 kg will be interesting for you. This is going to be the craziest cardio that you will ever do in your life. And it's that hybrid endurance. It's that strength endurance. That's why I have big respect of rowers. Rowers are beasts because they have cardio and they have strength. They have to tap into two motor abilities that are usually diametrically opposed to each other. And so this is where the kettlebell snatch comes in. One of the best kettlebell or cardio exercises you can do. Now, where I agree is he's probably seen some crazy, stupid kettlebell stuff that I see all the time, these fluff exercises, these typical Instagram moves. They are not worth their salt. They are a complete waste of time. And if he has seen some of these exercises, and then the influencers in the video claim that they get some type of cardio benefits off of them, I wholeheartedly know where our brother is coming from. Now, the next thing that he talks about is nutrition. I wholeheartedly agree. You want to get lean? Make sure you watch what's going down the hatch. That's very simple. And now the final thing that I want to mention is, what type of muscle do you want to build? Do you want to look like a guy who can do work? Do you want to look like somebody who can lift his kids up, doesn't have a bad back, is not suffering from some type of imbalances, big arms, no legs, and has that functional strength where the whole body is integrated and moving? That's the kettlebell that you're going to choose. And yes, you're going to build muscle. And depending on the weight you're using, depending on how you are skewing these interesting aspects that I mentioned in the beginning, protein degradation and time under tension, then you can build some serious muscle. Now, on the other hand, if you want to look like a bloated turtle, and if you only want to show off at the beach, or you want to step on stage, yes, this is where bodybuilding comes in. And performance-enhancing drugs are the missing link between protein degradation and time under tension, because PEDs allow you to move heavy weights for a large amount of reps, recover way faster. And there you go. That's a perfect recipe to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so at the end of the day, what do you want to look like? Where do you want to go? And yes, I will be the one to say, kettlebells can help you build awesome muscle, great muscle. I use the term functional muscle because I call it integrated, where the whole body is you're using it as one unit. then the kettlebell is perfect. But if you really want to go to on stage and you want to look like Mr. Olympia, yes, then even though I believe the kettlebell can build muscle, it's probably not the ultimate perfect tool, because in that area you are specializing. And just like I mentioned that crazy snatch technique, or that crazy snatch 200 reps and you got an awesome cardiovascular exercise, I have to add one important disclaimer. That's rather an SPP exercise, or an SPP way of training, specific physical preparedness, an exercise that you only do if you want to build a particular skill, or you're really looking for that crazy cardio. On the other hand, stepping on stage at the Mr. Olympia is also SPP. That's also specific physical preparedness. And this is where then you have to use specific movements, bodybuilding movements, to get there. But here's the major key. Focusing on over 40s and 50s and 60s, here's what I've seen. This demographic, the baby boomers, you know what they want? They just want to be ready for anything that life throws at them. And this is where the kettlebell shines. They don't want to spend too much. They have probably spent some time in the bodybuilding world, and now they say, you know what? I need something that is a little bit more tangible for my daily life and that can still get me what I am looking for. And this can be summarized in one sentence. These people are looking for GPP, general physical preparedness. And the kettlebell is the king that delivers on all fronts when it comes to GPP. Here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far and you want to learn more about the kettlebells, I have a powerful webinar coming up where I teach you all about our upcoming revamped Kettlebell Plus 3.0 membership. This is the ultimate kettlebell membership that's going to take you from a kettlebell noob to the absolute master with a complete dedicated program. It's the third overhaul of a big kettlebell membership that I've been running. We have close to 10,000 people who have opted in over the years with our courses. And now I'm harnessing all the power, all the strength, and all my knowledge to improve on Kettlebell Plus and grant you that perfect kettlebell experience that you deserve. So if you're over 40, 50, or 60 and you want to really improve your kettlebell technique, or if you're already a member of Kettlebell Plus, you have to sign up for that webinar, because there I'm going to explain everything in clear detail. And if you're wondering what type of kettlebell I'm using, it's the Pro Kettlebell, the best kettlebell on the market. Period. We are working hard to making it available in the EU, Switzerland, as well as the UK as soon as possible. We have a waiting list in the description where you can get notified once we open up shop. Check the link in the description to get 10% off your next purchase and use the code LEBESTARK at checkout.